Ladies and gentlemen,
we are live from the Shag Carpet Shack here in Columbia, Tennessee. What's up, everybody? We got Chase Blanchard.
We got Doug Lucanen, and this is the Power Move Podcast. What is going on, Power Move listeners? You are tuned in to the Power Move Podcast. As always, your host, Chase Blanchard, my co-host.
What's up, guys? It's Dougie. We're on here. We're rolling.
You know it. We got some special guests today. The Homegrown MMA. We got Thaddeus Reyes, John Bruni, and a part of Homegrown MMA, the one and only Dougie Fresh, Doug Lucanen.
We all did it. It was the trifecta.
It was the trifecta, guys. We got some great group of guys in here, and we're excited. We're gonna dive into it. Doug, what is it? What happens on the Power Move Podcast?
The Mo's of the Week, baby.
Mo's of the Week.
We're rolling.
Pow!
So we got to kick it off with them songs of the week. Smooth, sometimes exciting. Whatever the mood you want to get in. Sometimes a song helps. Kick off that week, get you started, get the motor running. So I think we should kick it off with the
guest.
Yeah.
What do you think, Thaddeus? Lead it off, bro.
Song of the week.
So you guys know Torrin Wells. He's like kind of a Christian artist.
I think I do.
He's more on the pop side though.
Yeah.
Well, his new song "Known."
Known.
Yeah, known. It's just talking about being known by Christ no matter what you're going through. So.
Oh, I
love it.
It's been my jam lately.
That's the power's awesome.
Dig it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So how's it make you feel? Why that song? Just being known by Christ?
Yeah, man. It just everybody goes through things ups and downs, and it's just been my go-to. I don't know what it is. It's been my song when I mow the yard, when I'm patrolling.
There you go.
It is what it is.
That's awesome.
Oh, love it,
man.
Go for it, Brewster. Song of the week.
Very good. Well, I'm going to throw it to Queen, Another One Bites the Dust. Because you're sitting there on your to-do list, and you're knocking those babies out. You got to hear that in the background, moving, checking those babies off.
That's what I'm talking about. So he's just knocking out power move after power move after power move. And you know that's what he's thinking. That's
and then after he checks them all off, he's walking out the door. He's like, and another one gone, another one gone.
He's just like,
you get in that groove and you get that momentum going. You just keep checking.
That's amazing.
I love it. Let's keep the circle going. Come on, Dougie Fresh.
All right, so dude, I battled with this one. I had two of them.
Okay.
But something that reminds me of something we're talking about today is Homegrown MMA, and you know how we're all training and going through a lot. I love the Rocky movies. I've talked about the Rocky movies, all of them, Rockies 1 through 6, and the 2 Creeds. This one comes right out of the Creed series. It's Last Breath by Future.
Oh, dude.
Such a good song. It's about hustling. It's about getting things done. It's about people doubting you and you overcoming those doubters and haters, and it's just something that gets me hyped. It's a good workout song. It's a good, the whole world's after you, prove them wrong kind of song. So I love it. It's actually got, in the background, it's got kind of some of the Rocky little touches on it.
I haven't heard that song.
Last Breath, Future.
It's good stuff.
Put it on the list to listen.
There it is.
It'll be on the season
Power
2
Move playlist.
Power Move playlist.
That's what I'm talking about.
So,
that's good stuff right there.
There's my song, and it just gets me hyped up, and it makes me think about when I was training with the boys and when I train now. So there you go for it, Jazzy. It's that song of the week.
Well, I think it only goes fitting with our guest here, the Homegrown MMA boys. Whenever I think of fighting, MMA, training, anything, click, boom. It's always in there. I think that's. I mean, we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna get into some of the things that y'all learn and you sparred and stuff like that. I feel like if I was a boxing trainer, it'd be like click, boom, right over the top.
Over the top.
Right over the top. Bow.
I was boomed a few times.
Yeah. Like I'm already thinking about it, and
times.
my heart rate
at
is
the same
already
time.
at like 140 right now, just thinking about it. So click, boom. It's gotta be an all-time favorite. It's always on the playlist
So
for
good.
working out, football, anything like that.
What's the band What's the band on that? Is that Saliva?
Saliva.
Yep.
Saliva.
Boy, I think that was a trivia question.
I'm actually really glad that you said that because I'm pretty sure it was Saliva, but I didn't want to quote it wrong. And now that you said it first, I'm gonna yes, it is right. So we got the song of the week. No podcast is complete without the power moves of the week. Power moves. All right, Thaddeus, let's keep it going, bro. What's the power move of the week for you, brother?
So for listeners, I'm a police officer. So my scenario, it's kind of a drawn out story, but I got sent to a domestic call between a girlfriend and a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Boyfriend clearly beat the girlfriend. So I go to tell him he's under arrest, and during this time he turned around, took off sprinting, just full speed, wasn't looking back.
Wow.
So adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah.
I just turn and go. So we started in kind of like the side yard of an apartment complex, and about 10 yards further up, I caught him. Well, we're in the middle of the entrance of the parking lot, and I just speared him.
Wow.
Like Edge.
Dude,
like,
straight out of WWE.
I was coming.
Yeah.
And
like a freight train.
So I landed in a perfect handgun position.
Concrete?
Asphalt.
Woo!
Yeah.
That wasn't in a wrestling ring.
So that's where all this comes from.
And when Thaddeus says all this, he's bandaged up.
He is. He's got some bumps, scratches, and bruises right now, listeners. Just know it. But he's tough.
Yeah. So I get him cuffed. We get in the car, and I like to talk to people, like, because there's bad people that do bad things, but not all bad, or not everybody does bad things. Right. So I like to kind of talk to people, get a feel for who they are, because I'm just there to do my job. I don't know who they are. So I'm talking to them in the car on the way to jail, and I'm just like, why'd you run? You knew what you did. And he told me right from the get-go, he said, with the climate how it is, I knew when you showed up I was running because I didn't know what you were going to do to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And for me, like, I've worked the protest, I've seen it on the news, social media. But when he said it, it's the first time it hit me, because I'm not white, so for the first time I got to see, like, he doesn't see me as a person, he just sees my badge, right?
Right.
So no matter what I said or how I treated him, he was gone. He had already made his mind. But then I looked at it from my standpoint too, of how they feel.
Right.
They don't know these people or anything, but they already have been oppressed so much that that's what their decision is.
Right.
So the conversation actually turned out really good. He cried a little bit before we got to jail. He's gone through a lot. But yeah, like, for me, I chose this as my power move because I could have, a lot of times you base how you're going to treat somebody off what they do to you, right?
Right.
Especially just meeting the person.
Right.
Just met this guy, runs from me, did a bad deed. I could have just threw him in the car and not said a word to him, right? But, we had a good conversation, and it kind of changed not on how I do my job, but on how I go about every day before I go to do my job. Make sure, hey, right before I put on my badge and everything, I'm going to treat everybody with respect, care what they do, how they treat me. I'm going to treat them with respect, because at the end of the day, everybody's human. I saw this, right. Yeah. I saw this guy at his worst day, going through a lot, and even though he didn't want anything to do with me, we were able to have a civil conversation. So that's my power move.
Yeah. That is awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, my power move does not stack up. That's excellent, Thaddeus, and I know you're in a tough spot, with your job, but I think you're doing an amazing approach at it.
Yeah,
That's
awesome that you come in open-minded. Like, the open mind part of it is definitely a power move of self-reflection and, like, willingness to adapt and see all angles. That's a power move.
Beautiful,
for sure.
And that's something I think that's very needed.
Yeah. For sure. Bruni, you want to take it over, bro? John Bruni, what you got, bro?
So first off, I do want to say thank you over here to Thaddeus. We appreciate what you're doing out there.
Absolutely.
And making those conscious decisions to give everybody that benefit. So thank you for doing the right thing out there and
Appreciate you.
doing it right. So
Huge power move.
So I'm going to lead this into some improvements that I've tried to make on myself, and something I've always struggled with is confidence in my work and who I am. And so I'm actually going to give a little shout out to one of your other guys you've had on here, Beeman, listening to that podcast while fantastic. Listen to that while going through some stuff in life, and kind of helped give me some inspiration to step out and accept some job offers that were out there and opportunities. And without going out there and feeling like you have the confidence to ask for what you're worth, you're never going to get it.
Absolutely.
And so listening to that and taking that bull by the horns, I asked for some things in that move and got it. And unless you believe in yourself and take that risk, you're not going to get it.
For sure.
That was just an awesome kind of move that was out there. So just having that faith and stepping out, and you can only be told no if you ask.
Right.
That
so
is awesome.
So what that's super awesome, dude. And so it sounds like the power moves have breeded other power moves, is what you're saying.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Like that. Doug. That's the whole reason we started this.
Honestly,
That's the whole reason we do this.
We wanted people to be motivated by listening to the podcast. That was number one. Like it's a cool outlet for us, but we want our listeners to grow from this. And we just share what happens to us and what we can help with. And no, we're not the smartest person on earth. We're
not perfect.
We're not perfect.
Yeah.
We're just saying, hey, this is what we're going through. This is how we made it. To where we're at. Not that where we're at is like royalty or anything. But this is some stuff we had to go through. Hopefully you can learn from it. Beeman being on the show was awesome. Yeah. Something I learned when I left my first job to move on to something actually just different. It was, I don't know if it was a step up or down, but it was betting on myself. Something Beeman said in that show, and I think sticks with everybody, is if you start attacking life, then you can elevate yourself. You can keep moving on up.
Yep.
Don't let life attack you. You attack it. And when you attack it, you achieve great things. And I've known Bruni a long time. I've known Bruni for 7 years. Bruni's been my boss. I've been Bruni's boss. We've been in all kinds of different. We've owned a business together. Bruni and I have been through some stuff. Two friends may never go through, and like I'm honestly just overly proud of him. Yeah. And I'm so glad that he has realized his worth and how awesome he is. So, and you're on the pod now. Like, I feel like I'm talking to you in the third person.
Love it.
But I just want to say that Bruni's every bit is worth is what he's getting and more. And he's got that work ethic, and he's got so many skills, and
put himself in the captain chair. He said, "I'm the captain."
He's the man.
Hey,
I'm just ready to go out there and grind and show him it's worth it. So
that's it.
That's it. Put in the work.
And there's no doubt in my mind that's going to become a reality.
No doubt.
They said, "Hey, Bruni, we're bringing you up. Bruni's going to exceed expectations."
Yep.
I know.
No doubt.
Bruni, is there anything you want to add before we move on?
That's it. We're going to let it roll.
I'm loving it, brother. We've got some great energy in the room right now. So you
moves.
need to keep it going, Dougie Fresh.
I'll try.
And I believe in you. Come on now.
I believe in myself.
Come on.
I'm always trying to be a better leader, but honestly, I usually sacrifice myself a lot to make things happen.
You can. Absolutely.
And that's life.
Yep.
But something that I've worked on is I ended up getting really overweight. I was 208 pounds at one point. That's the heaviest I've ever been. As of right now, sitting here, I'm 185 pounds.
Boom.
Which is really cool.
Boom.
Attaboy.
I also ended up having to have a colonoscopy, getting everything, my digestive system looked at, diagnosed with GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disease. And it actually doesn't stand for that, but it's close. But basically, I have severe acid reflux, and my digestive system can only handle certain things. So, changed my diet for the better. I actually talked to Shannon about it because I was investigating some coffee for a minute, and realized that coffee's the absolute worst thing for me.
Probably so. Yeah.
Coffee.
Still love you, Josh. Like shout out to Legacy.
Yeah. Big shout out to Shannon. But seriously, like. I made a diet change. I've been working out twice a day, every single day this whole week. So
that's awesome.
I'm not giving up. I'm trying to get back in shape. I'm about 10 pounds still from that, and really want to start running again.
Yeah, there you go.
But I've made a good start, and that's my power move. Is that I've lost some weight. I've done some good choices, and I've worked out to balance out what I've worked, and just improve my diet so I can maybe one day have some buffalo chicken wings.
There you go.
Because I love food, but anyways, I'm just happy to be sitting here a little improved, and I'm gonna continue to work on myself, because if I don't care about myself, I can't care about others.
That's right.
So
well, I can definitely attest to that, because I have pushed Doug to try to get like Taco Bell for the podcast, and he's like, "Nah, man, I can't do that." So to say that your strength has increased and your motivation and everything, I can definitely attest to that, because I've tried to be the bad deed in your life, and you've rejected it. So that's awesome, man. And Bruni, getting that stuff from Boss Hog. I feel like my power move is all you gentlemen. Like, y'all are the power move, my power move. But if I had to say my power move for the week, one of the biggest things is stepping up. I'm really stepping up in the home life. And what I mean by that is, we all know we're all in a relationship. Well, all of you are married, to my understanding.
Yep.
I'm engaged to be married, and one of the things is, you sit back and you always have conversations with your significant other, and you talk about how you can, improve your lifestyle at home in all aspects. And I found myself looking at the tasks that ordinarily I would have just looked past and said, I can get another day. I'm trying to tackle it head on directly. And with that being said, too, we're also, right before I got on the podcast today, I just paid for the materials, and we're adding on a back porch to our house.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that.
Nice.
So combined with the task at hand, just as simple as tackling the dishes if you see it, even if it's one or two, putting the clothes in the washer if you see it stacking up, And I believe, we had the spouse on early, on the spouse pod, but I believe him and Lexi would say the same thing. It's like she's recognized it as well, and it's just a good thing. When you have a good thing going, it feels great.
Oh, yeah.
When you do the things and you do it not looking for gratification, but you get it from your significant other, it's a great feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Then too, once you start doing that and it starts building, and that significant other sees that and plays off of it, that just continues to grow together. And you get that mutual benefit from both sides.
Exactly. It's not from your power move, right? Like, once power moves breed other power moves, right? Like, momentum breeds momentum, right? So
how me and my wife look at it, a lot of people say like 50-50, but it's really 100-100. You gotta both put in full effort, and then pick up each other's slack when you're not feeling it. So that's good stuff, man.
You gotta make it a priority.
Home life's definitely an important thing.
Important thing. So sick, guys. Well, there's your mows of the week. Power moves of the week. Power song of the week.
It's in there.
All right, so we got a little bit different podcast today, ladies and gentlemen. So you heard it earlier. Homegrown MMA is in the building.
Yes. Martial arts.
And that consists of Thaddeus, John, Bruni, and our co-host, Doug Lukanen. They three started this. Well, this is an open conversation, so I'm not going to point it to one individual, but guys, who is and what is Homegrown MMA?
Well, I'll kick it off because I've got the biggest mouth I've ever had.
And I feel like that is the true epicenter of where this kind of happens.
So Thaddeus and I are at Walnut, our last house, 102, and still in Columbia. We're watching UFC 200. We had a lot of fun that night. The night finished and we were grappling and just doing dude stuff.
Right.
And we made this really, I think it was really like a half-witted promise that we're going to do this. Yeah. We're going to fight.
We can do it.
We're going to we're going to go do some MMA. We're going to do a fight, and that's what we're going to do.
I think the conversation was like, we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it was very
nonchalant.
Yeah. And no kidding. I said, all right, I'll see you Tuesday at the gym at 5 p.m. and Thaddeus showed up, and I showed up, and I had Googled some stuff, and you know, I had trained before, but never super intensely.
Right.
You know, I had been with Nashville MMA for a term, Guardian MMA for a term, but you know, I never got to stick with it because it's kind of frowned upon in my profession to show up with Band-Aids on your hands at work while you're
bleeding on the keyboard.
Yeah.
bleeding on a keyboard.
Yeah, that would be kind of frowned upon.
So
or at least questioned.
Yeah.
At least questioned. Yeah.
So we decided to start training, and Thaddeus had the goal of wanting to be in an MMA fight and accomplish, you know, a goal there, and I started out with wanting to be in an MMA fight, but regressing back to kind of jiu-jitsu due to my wife. She didn't want my jaw caved in, I guess.
No.
But at the same time, we decided that night that we were going to do it, and then we started training 3 times a week. We started at Olympus Gym in Spring Hill, just kind of training on the side, and then got some mats, and we trained in the basement at Walnut.
The dungeon.
Really?
Now from here on referred to as the dungeon.
Yeah.
The dungeon?
Cinder block walls.
Not forgiving.
Wrestling and non-forgiving.
We'll get to that.
Cruel environment. Different temps than the upstairs, and you know, honestly, just a good, dirty environment.
Yeah.
You know, cleaned up before every practice.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, we
definitely.
don't want to act like it wasn't, because I Swiffered every time.
Oh, every time.
But it became our goal. That was a pivotal moment, I'll just say, in my life, and I want to spread it to you, Thaddeus, because I want to talk about John coming in later on.
Yeah.
Because his entrance is beautiful, like the way John came into it. But
Can't wait to see how he tells this.
I changed careers a week before that.
Okay.
UFC 200. And so I was redefining
So
my
UFC
life.
200, the
UFC 200, the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Now, what was the main fight for that?
So that was supposed to be, I think, Cormier and Jones.
Cormier and
Thought it
Jones?
was.
Third fight, but then Jones either tested positive or something, so Cormier fought Silva, I know, on that card.
Cormier fought Anderson Silva.
But
Cain
who was the main?
Velasquez made a return that night. I don't remember.
Who's
the
the
name,
main?
to be honest.
Okay.
Connor wasn't.
Connor
I
wasn't.
know he was
Okay.
trying to be.
Yeah, because it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it was UFC Fight Week that year.
Right.
Which is the international fight week they have there.
Right.
I forget. Was that? No, it wasn't. No.
I was thinking maybe Woodley Lawler, but I don't think so.
I'm not sure.
So the main event was supposed to be Cormier and Jones.
Yeah, for this, I think the second fight.
We're
yeah.
going to Google it on the fly.
And Jones, I think, tested positive, and
Okay.
and Anderson
Yeah.
Silva took the fight against Cormier, but that then didn't become the main event. That fell to like the third fight of the night. So I don't
Okay.
know.
All right, so that was actually
Was it Lesnar?
Mark Hunt and Brock Lesnar.
That's right.
Misha
Wow.
Tate
Yeah.
and Amanda Nunes.
That was.
Cormier and Silva. There's a
Cormier
lot.
and Silva.
Yeah.
Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar, which Frankie Edgar is my favorite fighter.
Right.
But Cain Velasquez returned against Travis Brown.
So
Who was the main event that night? Was it Nunes
It was actually Nunes
and Tate?
Tate, yep.
Yeah.
there you
That
go.
was the main
Yeah.
event.
So you talked about it a little bit, and we'll get to Bruni coming in.
Sorry,
What
that
was
that was
so-
a pivotal moment.
So
I
you
never
created
finished
it
that thought.
at that event. Then, what was the general purpose and future? Like, what was the purpose of creating Homegrown MMA, and what was your goals?
So
Starting it.
Thaddeus and I didn't have a whole lot of money. So
Okay.
and
I was
also,
still in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So.
you know, honestly, I was traveling to Nashville for work and everything.
Yeah.
Time was limited. So we said, what can we do to learn stuff, train, get in shape, make sure everything's still going, and not have to pay like a monthly fee, and just utilize what we had. And so that was to really look up moves that we
Right.
needed to know. There were some things we already knew just from experience, but there was a lot of stuff we needed to learn. And so what I would do, because we were obsessed with it, we would look up moves in workouts all the time. And we would basically create our own training regimen mixed in with striking and grappling. So grappling being, you know, the art of grabbing somebody and making them give up, and, you know, striking, hitting somebody and making them go to sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
But it was a pivotal moment because, you know, I had changed jobs and I was overweight at the time. I was 205 pounds back then.
Right.
And I wanted to change my life. And even though we were having fun that night and we made that promise, when Thaddeus showed up, it ignited a fire under me.
Yeah.
So Thaddeus, what was kind of your background getting into this MMA adventure? So obviously, I mean, you're a cop now, so
Right.
I mean, it can be an aggressive profession, you know.
You're right. If
you know,
needed,
if the
needed,
situation escalates, right? I mean, it can happen.
Right.
So,
right.
what was kind of your background getting into MMA?
Watching UFC.
Okay.
Like we go to Doug's house or my brother's house, and we definitely watched all the like big main events, but we usually rotated, and it was like we just would go and watch the fights. And I've always been a guy who I don't set limits on myself, especially athletically.
Right.
I like to try it before I knock it. Right. So that night when Doug brought it up, he's like, "Man, we should try.
do this.
Like, we should do this."
So you seen it as like a challenge,
Right.
basically.
But then like me and Doug at that time were coming really close, close.
Still are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's when we started like becoming like real good friends. Because you always like Lavery's friend, my brother,
okay,
and then because grew up together because I'm younger, right? And then, but around then, yeah, Doug was like my dude, like, and still is. But that's when it formed, right? So not only is it like it would have been different if somebody else was just like, man, we should do this, you know?
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, I could
We'll
do
see.
it.
Yeah.
But because it was Doug. And I
you
know
were
his
all in.
Right, and I know his work
He
ethic.
does have a way of kind of persuading.
He
you,
does,
and
but
like
he's got that.
He brings the power.
Yes. Oh,
in-
yeah. And he's got
into-
that drive though.
Right.
So like
that work ethic.
yeah. So that night, like I knew once he asked me this,
Yeah.
like it wasn't just gonna be like a one time like,
Yeah.
hey, we should do this.
Right.
No, it's like
you knew he was all in,
like, hey, bro, I'm behind you,
and you were all
like,
in.
you're right. And then I knew like he had a goal too, more like a fitness goal.
Right.
And so I had a fitness goal, and that morphed into, hey, okay, when he decided to do his jiu-jitsu tournament in Naga, and then I decided, all right, let's get in a cage. You know, we just drove each other. You know, and it was awesome for me because at the time I was going like my life was all over the place. I was in college, and I was about to get engaged.
About to get engaged.
Yeah.
Very nice.
That was actually a training after a night of training conversation that I decided to propose to my wife. I was like, hey, I think I'm going to propose to Shannon.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and then like it morphed into a great brotherhood too. Like,
Yeah.
like every night, like it's not like, you know, you would frown upon like going to work out and
Yeah.
stuff, but I loved like if we could train 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, just the mojo we had going. You
The
know,
only thing that got in the way, honestly, was like work and life balance.
just
And-
life.
And you know, seriously, like when he says 5 days a week, like I was all in for that. Like we were all in for that, and that was such a big part of it. And when you know he's talking about like training and in the dungeon, it just makes me like boil up inside and get excited because like. I was creating a lot of this stuff, and I was like, man, I hope like the guys are gonna like the training tonight.
Yeah.
And I would spend a lot of time just looking stuff up for those 3 days, and there were sometimes we had to just train on getting better at the same thing that we were doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like Thaddeus said, watching MMA, I haven't missed an episode or a pay-per-view since UFC 68.
Same.
Very
Where
nice.
I'm 250 now,
Yeah.
I think. Or
Yeah.
coming up on 251.
Yeah, coming on 251.
And like I am thoroughly engaged. My older brother Brandon, he got me involved with UFC. BJ Penn was my first favorite fighter.
There you go.
Like GSP, if he was still fighting, he would be my favorite fighter.
I'm still reading the book. It's in the squad car.
Dude, so yeah,
Very nice.
big story behind that. I got an autograph book from GSP when we went to Vegas on
Which
our honeymoon.
GSP stands for?
George Rush St. Pierre.
St. Pierre.
And
Yep.
so learned a lot from that book and passed it on to Thaddeus to read. And dude, I don't care if you die with that book.
I'm going to finish it one day.
I've always wanted you to have it. And,
I'll finish it one day.
It means a lot more for me, for you to have it than because I've read it. And
Yeah.
it's just, you know, it'll be passed through. But anyways,
That's
go for it, Chelsea.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Bruni, Tell the listeners and myself as we're talking about this. How did you enter into the family known as Homegrown MMA? How did you enter into it? You tell your side.
Well, I kind of want to hear the Cinderella story that Doug's painting over here.
It's gorgeous.
Because what I think I remember with a lot of like sleeping 2 kids later.
There you go.
I want to see
There you
how
go.
it kicks off here because I remember being invited and going, so we're going to go under your house in the basement and we're going to roll around and pin each other. Okay, how does
On
this work?
sanitized mats.
On
though.
sanitized
They
mats.
were sanitized.
Swiffer.
Yeah, Swiffer.
And I'm like, so leading into that, we had Ava, my little baby girl, and you get dad bod, right?
Right.
So I'm sitting here going,
No.
fitness. I definitely need to look for something. I stayed very busy between work, going through my bachelor's program, going through my master's program, and not having any outlet really other than just the grind. You wake up, you go to work, you go to school,
you go.
You put in the effort.
Grind, sleep, repeat.
Exactly. So when invited, like I said, when they said they were all in, it was all in. I was coming home from work. I'd go home, I'd put my little girl down, I'd rush over to the dungeon.
The dungeon.
And we'd start training. And
So who invited you? Was it Doug?
oh, it was Doug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking for bodies anyway.
Yeah.
But I knew Bruni, and I knew he would be a good test. Like,
A good test subject.
Other than you being, like, my best friend, like, is the fact that you were a good size, too. Because we needed bigger guys.
Bruni's a big dude. What's your metrics now?
5'10".
So right now I'm sitting at about 5'10", 210 pounds, which is about where I was at when we started.
Yeah,
so,
pure American muscle.
Yeah, I went from dad bod, 1.0, and then we had a second kid, and dad bod 2.0. I'm back down to dad bod 1.0. So, we're getting there.
There you go.
But that was about the same size I was when we went down there, and I just remember, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. This is going to be a good goal. And I walk in, and there's Doug, and then this Adonis of another individual. And I'm sitting here going, and they want me to roll with these two?
You're like, I'm about to squash
What
this.
am I getting into?
I'm about to turn these kids into mashed potatoes.
Because previously, before that, I did not watch any of the fights. Just not something that I had a bent to, just due to time. It was
so you weren't a natural born MMA lover even before you got into it.
No, I was not big into sports growing up. I was the second tier kid on the basketball team who they subbed in when everybody else was tired.
You gotta have them, but yeah, you're right.
Mom was always concerned about me getting hurt on the football field, so wouldn't let me play. So just never was really into sports. Never watched that, and so to come into this was definitely a big test.
So to come into a sport where you purely beat the crap out of each other, you're going.
So I walked in with.
You wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Not with this guy though.
So I walked in with zero experience. To put somebody in a headlock or any other move, I wouldn't know the name, how to do it. I walked in fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Which was the best part.
But eager.
Into the dungeon.
Eager is the best word. So Bruni comes over. You weren't there the first time Bruni came over. Bruni comes over. I invited him over on a Saturday morning. And he says, you know what, I want to try this. And he walks in, and he doesn't like I built a training for Thaddeus. I have kind of like some things, with some moves and everything. Bruni comes in and says, look, throw all that in the garbage. Okay? He goes, let's just see what I got first.
There you go.
And so Bruni goes right into sparring, baby. He says, and you know what Bruni's first action was? I said, all right, if you want to spar, we'll spar right off the bat. I don't care. So, at first I'm like, I don't know if I can handle dude. Like, he's relatively 40 pounds bigger than me. Taller than me.
He's like Monterey cheese. He's like Monterey cheese. He's jacked.
On paper, this doesn't look very good for me.
Not at all.
And I'm sitting there going, this guy's about to crush me, but let's see what we got.
There you go.
So Bruni's first move was to go full-on attack, which is a perfect resemblance of Bruni's character. When he's met with a challenge, he hits it head on.
I mean, we heard it first with the power move. Absolutely.
And that's exactly what the first thing he did in the dungeon. is he shot for a takedown. He said, I'm dropping this dude. I'm going to take this guy down.
I didn't know what he had, what he was going to bring at me, so I'm bringing it first.
He brought the heat, baby.
So what was your first move? Like a leg sweep, or what was it?
I rushed him and just said, let's roll.
Like a spear?
Bull rush, spear, takedown.
Spear. Wow.
Like, you know.
So 2 out of 3 guys are a fan of the spear. What about you? I mean...
I'm a big fan of the spear.
It works.
I've speared many a body in my life. But
Plenty of momentum. It works.
That's awesome.
But Bruni came in head first.
Strong.
And you know, like, you know, we rolled around for a while, but that was the most, the second most hurt I got sparring somebody.
Okay.
Because Bruni shot in so hard that I had to sprawl, and like we said, the dungeon is unforgiving. So I got a cinder block wall behind me. So I shot out, and I filleted my big toe.
Dude, like, that thing didn't heal for a minute.
I pulled the skin from the top of my toenail back down to the bottom of my toe. And the adrenaline was so high, we didn't even know it until we were done, and there was blood all over.
Yeah, we got up, and I'm like, what just got murdered over here?
Oh, my goodness.
Doug's never going to invite me back. I got him bleeding all over
This is on the first day?
Day 1.
Wow.
I loved it.
That's crazy. So he jumped in strong. I mean, that should have been your power move from years ago.
It was.
That's crazy. So
it was a power move. He came in full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead. So you kind of hinted a little bit, real quick, the dungeon. Describe the dungeon. So it's underneath your house. You've got mats. Are they just on are they sitting on earth?
They're sitting on concrete.
Yeah.
Like concrete's underneath these pads.
Concrete, yeah.
So that sounds like it could
concrete
get
and cinder block walls. Bruni and I actually built a actual wall above it, so that when we were against that wall, you weren't having your head go into the crawl space.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that sounds like it could get a little painful. So that is, Bruni, Doug, what do you think was the most physically painful thing that you endured with Homegrown MMA? We'll get to you, Doug. Sound like you nearly ripped off your big toe, so we're glad you got all 10 sitting to this day.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's good.
what do you think is the most painful thing you ever endured in Homegrown MMA?
Yeah, well, I guess 2, but Doug alluded to earlier before the pod, when we were talking before the podcast, about the time he kicked me twice in the nuts. Like, what was like...
It's back
to
back.
jewels.
Back to back, yeah.
Back to back.
Old boys, yeah.
Accidental.
Yeah.
Straight
up.
Within like a 10-minute time frame?
Oh, less
than that. Yeah.
Oh,
I'd say it was within the same.
Oh gosh, that's like leaving your popcorn in the microwave. It's just burnt.
It was rough.
Terrible.
Yeah, I think we shut it down after that. I think we just
we stopped sparring.
We just worked out after that. Yeah.
Public service announcement: if you're going to engage in these activities, please wear a cup and mouth guard.
The cup was worn.
Cup and mouth guard.
Both worn.
Yeah, I felt the cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broke my foot almost.
But definitely the most painful. So
that's how hard I kicked.
When me and Doug got into this, we knew about it, right? But so we decided to spar striking. I don't even think we were working grappling.
Dude, that was like the first thing we did because
I think so.
Thaddeus said, Doug, I want to go into a fight. I want to go into a cage. I said, well, next practice, get ready, because all we're going to do is beat the hell out of each other.
And we did.
Because if you can't take that, then you don't have any business getting into a cage, because it's going to be bad. And I want to know how it feels too, so let's do it.
Yep. And we did. Yeah, we gloved up. No headgear.
No headgear. Because
we had
headgear's for sissies.
Smart people.
Please wear headgear.
Right. We're testosterone level.
So research has been done. Headgear sometimes jars the brain more than not wearing it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Tidbit.
Little drop. Didn't think you were getting pro advice today. Go ahead, Daddy.
So you got kicked to the family jewels twice.
Right. Okay, but that wasn't the most painful.
Okay.
So we decided to spar, right? And Doug brings it. He's bringing it. He's got it. He's got a mean right hook, and he can dip. And when he comes back over with it, it hurts.
Like the click, click, boom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it hurts.
It's fast.
Yeah, and he comes in, and so I just said, screw it, I'm gonna throw 2.
Yeah.
And we ended up both connecting at the same time. I'll never forget it. Yeah. And I
haymakers, like a haymaker.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a wind up. There was a wind up to that.
Yeah. And I got jarred, and I was out for a minute. I didn't fall. I was out on my feet, and definitely seeing stars. Yeah, that was Probably.
So you remember, but
That
you
makes-
kind of remember
that's
it.
make-
You
That
don't.
makes me sad.
Yeah.
I thought that left hook to the body was the worst.
Oh no, that was mean too. Yeah, that was mean too. But yeah,
I put a lot
Dang.
more into that.
What about you, Bruni? What was the most painful thing that you can remember from Homegrown MMA?
So
The dungeon.
I'm actually going to go outside the dungeon for the most
Okay.
painful.
Okay.
Going into the Naga event that we went into, had 2 matches that were fought there, and the second one was a big hoss from Kentucky, and I was gassed by that. I'm sure we'll go into this a little more later, but he basically sat on me and bent my elbow. You can go into the move, but bent it so far back and was twisting my arm, and all I could do was feel my shoulder wanting to pull out of the socket. Ended up tapping on that one because I figured he was either going to break my arm or he was going to break my arm.
Yeah.
was all it was going to end up.
Jeez.
So
Was he the same weight class as you? Like same,
He was
same
supposed
weight?
to be.
He was supposed to be, but that dude was jacked.
Jack. That's a Dougie Fresh original. Jack.
Yeah.
You wanted to like protest that weight limit there. You wanted to see that boy get on
I
stage.
think a few of us
yeah.
would.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So-
a few of us would protest that. I've got it on video. That dude was huge and should have never been in John's weight class. John weighed in at 189.
Wow. So for myself and the listeners, you said it earlier and you just said it again. Naga event. What is a Naga event, Bruni? Tell us about it.
Go ahead.
So it's the North American Grappling Association, if I got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Ding,
Yep.
ding, ding. Sweet.
Trivia question
So
number 2.
that is
Yeah.
that is the official association of the grappling and
Right.
and legit officiated hosted events. It sounds
Yeah,
like
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you grapple for points and submission.
Okay.
So either
tournament style. I
Yeah.
reckon.
Tournament
Oh yeah.
style.
Bracket style. Yeah.
And so you were
Different classes.
team team homegrown, right?
Homegrown
Yeah.
MMA. We
Yeah.
were signed up as a legitimate team. Yeah.
Right.
It was
So
awesome. I was Bruni's coach.
so that's what the goal was from day one, right? Was to
Yeah.
compete in events, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what you've done. So how many events did you guys compete in?
So
Big time in
yeah.
interruption.
So I had a
Sorry, guys.
fight.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually fought in the cage. and
You
then-
fought in the cage.
right, and then these guys did the Naga tournaments.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the difference between fighting in a cage as an MMA wrestler versus just a grappling association event?
You want me to take that, or anybody can take it?
Go for it,
Go,
Thaddeus.
Thaddeus.
So in the cage, everything goes.
Everything goes.
Right,
Kicks, strikes,
Right.
grappling,
Grappling.
anything.
No elbows, and
Right,
knees
right,
to the
yeah.
head. Which,
Amateur-
which we didn't know going into it because amateurs are. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were certain rules for amateurs, like Doug was saying, but yeah, so everything goes. It's like you're watching it live on TV.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing like
Like you would watch a UFC event.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know, just couldn't elbow and knee.
Elbow and knee is the only difference for amateurs.
In which case, in a UFC event, you can elbow
Right.
a knee, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So what we were doing, you were purely trying to pin somebody, choke them out. There was you couldn't punch. There was no
Yeah,
kicking.
basically no striking in the Naga events.
So what you guys done was like similar to straight up wrestling, like at a high school, right? Or college.
Except you can choke somebody unconscious and you can choke them just by their neck. In folk style wrestling in high school, you
can't.
have to have an arm in there. You can't just grab somebody by the neck. There's a
Okay.
lot. So basically, in Naga,
Mm-hmm.
you fight to finish. So you're looking to tap the other opponent out, and take them down. You get points for takedowns, things like that. But
Okay.
basically, think of an MMA match, except you can't strike somebody,
Okay.
and then you're done.
So how many matches did you compete in?
So I just did the one.
You just did one.
Yeah.
Did you win?
I did not.
You did not.
But it was a good learning experience.
Okay.
I took a challenge against a guy who's
Yeah.
way more experienced. But it turned out I
Did
was
you
alright
have-
with it.
Did you have a nickname, or were you just
No. I think you got to win some fights.
I kept trying to come up with something.
Did you have one going into it? You didn't have
No,
nothing? Okay.
no. Yeah, we were gonna just let the fight and
Let
see
your
where it
fight
went.
do the
yeah,
talking.
See where
There
that
you go.
went. Yeah.
We did get a Mexican flag mouthpiece that was
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Still
we
got
some,
it.
got
Yeah.
some
That's
sponsors.
Yeah.
And shout out to all the sponsors:
Yeah.
Logic Force,
Elks
Courtney
Lodge.
Marker Creative,
Elks
Colin
Lodge?
and Bruni
Yeah.
LLC, Nashville Franklin Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
That was all amazing. One thing that I will say, so Thaddeus was super humble about it. He went against somebody that was 4-0,
Wow.
that had never lost, didn't look like he was going to lose. He was state championship wrestler,
Which
for
we didn't
Kentucky.
know.
We learned a lot from the fight after the fight of how good
After
this
it
guy
happened.
was.
Right.
Now I asked Thaddeus right off the bat when I was offered the fight because I reached out to it was Valor Fights. That's who put on the fight here in Nashville or out in Nashville, and I said, Thaddeus, dude, they want you to go against a guy that's 4-0. You know, his name's Christian Bowling. He's undefeated. He knocked out his last opponent in 25 seconds with a head kick.
Wow.
You want to fight him? It was a half a second. Thaddeus says, "Yep, that's who I want to fight."
Attaboy!
Yeah.
That's
It was
a power move.
I said,
Boom.
You sure?
Boom.
This is your first fight.
He said, "Bring it."
He said,
He ain't scared.
"It doesn't matter. Christian Bowling. I'm gonna roll it down the lane. I'm gonna knock him out. It don't matter. America."
Strike.
You know, he said, "I got this one."
And he was that confident going into every match or every practice session we had.
Yep.
It was with that drive and determination of he's not going to get me.
Yep.
He kept that motivation the whole time.
So
It
basically,
was.
he was the Tom Brady of MMA.
And to be real, you have to give Thaddeus credit because he didn't have like a whole. He had us, right?
Right.
You know.
He didn't have like Money Mayweather over there.
Right.
Best team in
Training.
the world, though.
You know, thanks,
Look at that.
Thaddeus. But like honestly, like we did I feel like we did the best we could. Those other people that fought him came from reputable paying gyms. Thaddeus was the longest one to last.
So you're telling me
he lasted the longest out of all of those.
So you're telling me he was
opponents.
homegrown?
He was homegrown for sure.
Straight up.
And not only was he
Love it.
homegrown, but he outperformed all of the people that Christian Bowling beat.
That's awesome.
So I'd say.
And it was a mental error why I lost.
Do you want me to finish that thought?
Yeah. So exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the next question I was going to ask you. So
Right.
if do you have any regrets or like you said anything you left on the table or what do you think you maybe could have done or do you like you said you sound like you know what you did wrong or could have won?
Well, and I'll start by this. We are gonna fight again.
Okay.
Don't know when, but we are gonna fight again.
I'm ready.
My wife's on board, so we'll get it done.
Hey, you're all in, baby. That's
Yeah.
it. That is it.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with a nickname.
But
Yeah, we do.
going in, like, any sporting event that you do, or really anything different for the first time, you have adrenaline, right?
Right.
You're
hyped.
You're there, and it's to experience it. You don't know, right? So, the moment I got in the cage, it was.
You ready?
Oh man!
You got
Like,
44 out of 10.
Doug told me, man, take your time, get into the fight. Well, right off the bat, I rushed straight across the cage.
Trying to spear him.
Well, I'm there, and on the feet, I felt comfortable.
Okay.
Definitely some things needed to tighten up, but yeah, I felt good there. And then he came out with a switch kick, and I thought I could take him down. We did not know he was a state champ wrestler.
Yeah.
Found out real quick.
So his grappling skills were good.
Yeah,
He is an excellent grappler.
yeah, he was pretty good. He ended up taking me down, got me in a Kimura pretty quick. But I fought out of that, got back up to the feet,
Amazing.
and then we went back down to the ground, and he fell into a guillotine. So I had him in a choke. But I didn't have him in my guard or even on the same side as me. He was on the opposite side.
Okay.
And then, so we had just worked on this like 2 minutes before I walked to the cage. For a guillotine, if you're in a guillotine, the way to reverse it is you get to the opposite side, snake your arm through, and you get him in a Von Flue choke, right?
Okay.
Choke only works if you're in the guillotine.
Right.
Biggest thing. So, but I had it so tight, I had him in the guillotine so tight, I was
He was hanging on to it, baby.
yeah, I was just going. I was going to just wear the arms out, and I think we had, like 40 seconds to the second round, something
Yeah,
like
you
that.
didn't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
Oh, the round catch you?
No, so I'm trying to choke him out, and he gets me in that Von Flue choke.
Okay.
And all I have to do to get out of it is let go of my choke.
Okay.
Right? And I didn't.
You did.
And that was it.
And it was loud in there.
So,
Because I was screaming,
so,
let go!
so how did it end? Did you have to tap or did the ref call it?
Yeah, I tapped, right?
Yeah, that is tapped. And he had no...
He had no choice.
It was tap or go to sleep.
Right.
You know, when
They
you
want
have
you to go to sleep.
when you have something on the table like that in an amateur fight, you know, when you know you're got, you say that you were got. You know, and there's no pride in it. You don't earn any pride from going to sleep.
No.
And you know, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, Thaddeus is real hard on himself because he was in that moment. But honestly, if he'd, there was a lot of things that Thaddeus had out there that he could have done, but all that's hindsight 2020. He's in his first fight.
Yeah.
He's young, super young.
Yeah, how old were you?
You were 21? 22.
20. It was before me and Shannon were married, so
Yeah.
I was 20, about to be 21.
16 or
Yeah.
17.
Wow.
It was November, so I was 20.
Yeah,
About to be 21.
So he's real
Wow.
young. It's his
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
fight. His adrenaline's basically on the moon.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was so loud in there, you probably couldn't hear me.
I didn't hear a word.
He
Yeah.
was zoned into the fight.
Yeah.
He was doing his thing, and
Yeah.
he was also on the other side of the cage.
Yeah.
And that is something we trained. We even brought his brother in to spar. Big shout out Lavery.
Yeah.
Lavery's a big guy, kind of like John, and
Yeah.
Lavery's favorite move is the guillotine,
Yeah.
which is the choke Thaddeus put on Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But we had trained that Von Flue choke from the very beginning because I knew that Thaddeus' favorite move was that guillotine choke.
Yeah.
He was so good at it too. But
Yeah.
but if there was somebody that was able to get to the side, he'd be in
counter it.
some trouble.
Yeah.
And it's something we trained. But honestly, like when we go back next time, we know a lot, and we've got more assets, we've got more time. And I see nothing but victory. And we all learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, the biggest thing
We do.
though, like, anything you do first off, you're like,
Yeah.
your brain's all over the place. Yeah. So the biggest thing is going to be slowing it down mentally.
Yeah.
Being able to hear him, that's the main thing because he's very knowledgeable. So if I can hear him, he can, guide me.
Right.
And then being able to slow down where I can see things. Then hey, it's not a
Clearly
sprint.
see,
It's a
yeah.
marathon.
Yeah.
Take your time, get in the feel of it,
Right.
and if it happens, it happens. If not, don't force it. So that'll be
awesome.
the biggest thing. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I found it to be a success for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, for what we did and how we did it, for him to last the longest with an undefeated fighter,
Yeah.
that had beat reputable teams dominantly with head kick knockout submissions. Thaddeus was the longest to last.
yeah. I mean, I can't relate to anything MMA, but like you said, I mean, and we talked about it for the podcast. You played football. You played quarterback. I played quarterback, and playing football, and we've done film studies, and just like you said, I mean, you sit back and you look at the film studies, and you play the the snap, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's cover 2. Why did I throw that?
Yeah.
Like the moment you throw it and it releases your hand
Yeah.
and you throw the interception, you're like, why did I throw that?
Yep.
So like you said, you knew what to do, but
Yeah.
in the moment you get caught up in the moment.
Yep.
So
That's it.
there's it's a horrible feeling, but like you said, you learn from it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
But you had one fight, so round 2 is going to be a different story. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Bruni, tell us about your record in the Naga series. Like tell us about your experiences in your competition, like in your records. Now is it like it's a win versus lose, right? Or is it like a first, second, third tournament style?
It is a bracket. They try to make sure that everybody got at least 2 fights in that day. But go ahead, Bruni. Yeah.
So for sure, we got in there training. Naga was never anything that I planned on doing.
Right.
It was getting in there, rolling with these guys, getting in shape, and you watch them get amped up, and you go through and you push yourself, and you're like, why can't I do it?
Right.
Of course, it took a lot of convincing and prodding from Doug, so
Thank
you for that. Otherwise,
So it sounds like you did this originally to start just as a fitness thing, as a fitness goal.
It was strictly let me get in there, and once you're in there and that vision gets hyper focused and your blood's pumping and you're just out there.
It grew from there.
Yeah, it grew from there. So I signed up, and I forget what was the timeline that we started training from the actual event, because I went back to look at my Fitness Pal.
Of course you did.
Bruni's track it back that far, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
I thought it was September-ish, and then
So
our
that was
match was October 26th.
correct. So I started.
Our match was actually. So you started training October, November. Our match was in March. My first match was in October.
You're right.
So yours was in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of 2017.
Yes. That's
okay.
yep.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at the weight things when we started. I was 211, and then I remember having a drop. It was like 15 to 20 pounds. In a short period of time.
Yeah.
So we get in there, hit weight class, and I thought I was gonna be like the 190 to 200, and ended up weighing in at 189.
Wow.
And was ready to roll. I got thrown in a class with 2 other guys.
Yeah.
And hit the mat with the first guy. He was a little bit younger. I don't think he'd competed either. It was like his first time. And what I did the first time to Doug is what he ended up doing to me. He rushed in, and so I ended up laying him out flat, waiting for him to rush in to where I kind of got on top of him and just squashed him. Sprawled, brought him right to the ground.
Yeah.
Flipped around, took his back, ended up grabbing around his neck early, and just being hyper focused and not listening, hung on there for way too long, not knowing what else to do, because I'm thinking I'm about to choke this guy out. He's gonna be fine. He's done. I've got his back. He's done.
Right.
We had a lot more spunk to him than what I realized, and I ended up winning.
Okay.
I don't know if it was just more due to the points
You
I
won
got.
by points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You won
So
by
it's a judge. It's a judge affair. Okay.
Well, and the thing is it didn't go to judge's decision. They score points as you do things.
Okay.
So the ref's like, okay, take down 2 points. Okay.
Kind of like wrestling matches.
Yeah, close submission. Yeah. That was 3 points. He almost choked him out. So when Bruni got his back and had him in a rear naked choke, like they were giving him big points for that, and he ended up squirming out, but that was big points. Go ahead, John.
1-0 start.
1-0 to start. I come off the mat and I'm not seeing anybody or anything. I've got tunnel vision.
You're hyped.
I'm hyped.
I've never seen him this way.
And
power's flowing
just,
through you.
Come on. I felt like I could do anything in that moment.
Yeah.
And my next match was directly afterwards.
Doubleheader.
Doubleheader.
Yeah, exactly.
The guy I fought against, the bigger guy.
You even have a sip of Gatorade or what?
It was
didn't have a whole lot of time. No.
It was pretty much throw back a little water.
That's crazy.
He'd been sitting on the ground. The second match, he'd been sitting on the ground during the whole fight of mine. So he'd sitting there catching his breath,
fresh legs,
watching his opponents fight each other.
Yeah, right. So he's getting that one up, and so we get out there, and dude was a brick wall.
Yeah,
and it didn't take long for him to end up getting me on my back. And then cranking that arm back, and I just, after so long, it was a tap or it's going to be a serious injury, and tried squirming out.
Rotator cuff, probably.
Yeah. They ended up jumping on top of me, and I couldn't even bridge up to bump him off or anything. He was stout.
Yeah. And that was a doubleheader, so that was right after your first match.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
I feel like there's got to be some
rest time,
some rest time, or
yeah.
Like some
well,
what is it,
NCAA
like rules or restrictions to where you have so much rest time or something like that.
Something amazing about John's match, his first match. He drove the dude out of bounds, so they had to bring him back to the center. Well, John gets up, and I remember my feeling from my first wrestling match. Like, I was like brutal kill, in kill mode, and I could tell that was what Bruni was in, because his eyes were completely black. I've got it on video. He looks like he is possessed, like he's from The Conjuring or something, and he's breathing. He's breathing he was.
He's in Red Bull mode.
He was in Red Bull mode.
Yeah.
And dude. We coached and worked through it, and you say you were blacked out, but you started listening to me halfway through the match and getting a lot done.
Bruni, do this.
Yeah.
And, I had enough awareness to listen, but
it was amazing.
With not following the sport and knowing all the terms and things to do, it came down to strictly knowledge and effectively, driving on those. And blanked when you get out there. You get that fog and tunnel vision. You're like, what do I do next? I've got this grown man under me trying to get away. How do I keep him here?
Right.
And there's that lack of knowledge to kind of finish that off.
Right.
I agree.
So how many more events did you compete in, or was that your only 2 there?
That was the only 2 there. Life got away from me after that.
Yeah.
Ended up having a second kid and just getting busier. So
another blessing.
But
right?
Yeah, exactly. So I've kind of fallen out of that, and
that's awesome.
Look back on some really fond memories.
But yeah, exactly. Dougie Fresh, what about you, brother? What does your career look like in the competition level?
I've got a lot of positives and negatives in my training, but my most enjoyed moments was being blessed enough to coach such good guys and have them trust in me, and that was all the motivation I needed in the world, dude.
Right. What about your competition, though? Did you compete?
Yeah, I did compete. I competed in 2 NAGA events. My first event, and I should have learned a little bit more from this event. My very first match, I was against a dude that was about 3 inches taller than me and had about the same thickness as me.
Yeah.
He beat me by points. I did not tap out, but I fought him tooth and nail. I ended up training a lot of moves to get people off of me out of side control after that because he had side control. Once he had taken me down, he ended up getting me. So something we glossed over. Let's real quick say, Bruni got second in his first tournament ever.
Wow.
Boom.
Boom.
I'm gonna pause for that.
Boom.
Bruni had never played sports. You guys heard him.
Yeah.
Second in his first tournament ever.
Boom.
He,
like a Baker Mayfield just walking onto that puppy.
And Bruni,
all the legs.
I think we'll
They
talk about.
are tree trunks over there. They
dude.
look like cedar trunks over there.
Dude, pine straight up. Oaks.
Solid oak.
Solid oak.
Solid,
Back
baby.
to the squat.
The squat
machine.
challenge. Anyway.
Doug's not going to talk about it because I beat him.
Yeah, he beat me.
I mean, I can see that.
I'm super competitive, so it bothered me. But anyways.
That's okay.
I'm small.
It's
happens.
alright. Let it out.
But yeah, 2 matches in my first attempt at Naga. The first one, huge dude.
Huge.
Should not have. He didn't weigh in at 159 like I did.
I think he was twice. He was
159?
easily 20 pounds over what I was weighing.
Man, I was 159 my sophomore year in high school, so that's pretty.
Dude, I cut some major weight.
Yeah.
I was
That's
175.
pretty thin.
And we should talk about weight loss next.
Yeah.
Because we did GSP's weight loss protocol, and we lost some major weight in 5 days.
Pretty clean though.
And very clean, and like on the day of match, I felt okay except for the second match, and I actually had an illness, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But I was 175 on Sunday, and I weighed in at 159 on Friday, and fought at 160 something on Saturday.
Man.
So I come in, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going against dudes that are taking this as seriously as I am. They're going to be about my size. Man, this guy was 6'2". I mean, I would say at least 6'1".
Man.
I'm not trying to exaggerate.
He's stout too.
He wrestled for the University of Tennessee on their club team.
Jeez.
So, like, dude was giant, but he couldn't tap me out because wrestling, you don't really train choking people out or breaking their arms and stuff like that.
Right.
But also, I was just squirming, man. He was a big dude on top of me.
No
Got out of
shifty.
there. Yeah. But anyways, I didn't get tapped out. In my second match, and unfair to the guy I was going against, I'll just say it right now, that kid was probably 150 pounds, maybe 140 pounds.
Out of shape too.
He
Though.
was super thin, and it seemed like
So you were in way better shape than he was.
Yeah.
I was stronger.
So. Yeah.
I don't know if he had the cardio.
I just say this. Dude tried to pull guard, and Doug was not having it.
He tried to pull guard, and when people pull guard, I get upset about it because I feel like
what is that? What is pull guard?
So pull guard means you grab the other person's neck and you jump your legs around them and straddle them.
To try to pull them
to try to pull them down.
Oh my God!
You're accepting.
That's what I do to my sister in the pool.
You're
Right.
You're accepting to be on bottom. Which
is not always a bad thing
if
you know what you're doing.
If you got a good guard, it's not a bad thing. But if
somebody guard, it's great.
Yeah,
right.
if John pulls guard, you're like, well, this is terrible.
Well, he's like an anchor. He's just gonna bring it down.
And he's got those legs, and you can't get by him.
Yeah, it's like a python.
But like when this guy pulls guard, like my first instinct is like, first of all, you're not gonna pull guard on me because I'm not gonna deal with that.
Yep.
So he tried to pull guard, and I slammed him. Like straight off the bat.
Like Gronk spiked him into the mat.
I kind of did actually. Yeah,
it was definitely a yeet moment.
I might have been a little fluff.
You know how like in WWE when they powerbomb somebody?
Oh yeah.
It was kind of like that, except his
little
legs
fish
were
out of
here.
water.
It was just bam.
Oh, it was awesome.
And so he got back up. Well, apparently he had been trying to like get into a lot of matches during the day, so he seemed gassed to me.
Yeah.
But anyways, when he got back up, I grabbed him and I slammed him on his back, and he said, "I'm gonna throw up." And then he ran off the mat and he threw up and I won. The end. Done. I just.
So they're like a DQ, I guess.
Well,
no, it's a win.
You can't walk off the mat and throw up. So I won because I made him throw up.
But there was only 2 ways that match was gonna go.
I was gonna either tap him out or he was gonna throw up.
Yeah, he was gonna pee his guts out.
Yeah.
And
Doug was dominant.
And
he dominated that from start to
your
finish.
first competition?
That was my first one. I ended up getting third.
Yeah.
The guy that grinded me out ended up going against some other dude that I didn't get to go against, and he ended up getting caught in a weird choke, which was funny to see actually, but because he was so big, and the other guy was only a little bit bigger than me, and so I was like, man, go a little bit bigger than me, guy.
Right.
Like that was really cool. Second tournament, I kind of learned my lesson in weight cutting.
Okay.
Next time I go into Naga or any fighting event, I don't think I'm going to cut weight because it doesn't seem like anybody else does. And when I got out there...
Is there not like official weigh-ins but the day before?
There is. This is what happens. So let's say you don't have enough people to have a large enough bracket. Rather than combining ages or weights... ages or like levels of class, because like I'd be fine. I would rather go against somebody that's more skilled than me but is my same size.
Right.
But
they combine weight.
They combine weights. So
wow.
My first match, I went out there. Dude had to be 200 pounds. The first match in my second one.
That literally contradicts the classic saying, pick on somebody your own size.
Oh yeah.
That literally contradicts all of that.
Yeah.
Well, and like I will say though, like I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. The second guy I went against was just better than me.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and honestly, I would hope to have beaten the guys bigger than me because that is just even more of a challenge.
Oh
right?
yeah.
But like the second guy, he was only a little bit bigger than me, and I should have kind of, and I did have him for a minute, but I was just tired. The second match, I had gone to Chicago for a business trip, ended up coming back, and I was pretty sick. And I trained with John, and like I was during the weight cut, and there were trainings that we had scheduled that I couldn't do because I just felt too weak, and I was trying to make the weight. And so I went into that match sick with a cold, really. It was kind of cold-like symptoms, and I barely made weight.
Game 7, Jordan.
Dude, I was terrible. And it was truly different. Because I was so mad that of all the weeks to get sick, like this is the week I got sick. Yeah. I still weighed in at 159. What was better about that, I ended up coming in, like before I even started, I was 5 pounds less. I could run 4 miles in 32 minutes. I was in the best shape of my, like, not of my life, but since I had been 25 at that point in time. And, you know, I could manhandle some stuff. I was doing really good.
Right. And
it bothered me that I got sick and I ended up losing both my matches. And I was mad at myself. I threw my mouthpiece. You know, I was pissed.
Steph Curry. Like Stephen Curry, throw that
My
mouthpiece.
Curry got stiffed.
So you competed in 2 events in your career.
Yeah, and you know,
2 tournaments.
1-3 record, which I'm not proud of, which is why I'm going back too. I'm going back. I'm training at Tennessee Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in Spring Hill.
Yep.
They've now fully opened up classes. If they get enough enrollment, they have the class in person.
Yep.
And I'm not going to give up on that goal.
Awesome.
And honestly, if I get the wife approval, it'd be awesome to fight an MMA fight.
Well, there you go. So that's half the battle, right?
Yep, that's that. Yep.
So you kind of mentioned it earlier. Guys, explain to me, because, I mean, anything I've ever been a part of sports-wise, I mean, I played a little bit of baseball, but it was mostly football my whole life. It was always work out and eat. I have never been a restrictive on my diet. Like, I tried even a little bit out of high school to eat vegetables and such like that, but explain to me the diet process. Sounds like you all have been a part of that in some type of way of cutting weight. How did that work out for you, and what was like the biggest challenges of that? Because honestly, like I said, I love my steak and taters, so I couldn't imagine. That is, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, it's not a fun process, man. So I love sweets.
Yeah,
like I love
your sweets. Okay,
I love sweets, man. And so my diet was plain chicken, grilled, a lot of greens, spinach, a lot of eggs, plain, just basically that was it. That's what I stuck to. I'd still eat, 2 decent meals a day.
Okay.
And then a lot of water, and then
purely trying to just cut weight while you're still training, right?
Right.
So you do need that fuel to keep going with training.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
So you're eating healthy and but also training. So how did did you find it a big challenge or?
Oh yeah, definitely. And then
I feel like that's more mental. I mean, am I wrong?
Oh yeah, weight cutting to me is all mental. You know, definitely. So I never been through a weight cut.
Right.
I never restricted myself in any form of how I ate. So for me, it was a huge challenge.
Right.
But Doug was very supportive.
Yeah.
I remember I was going to college during that time at MTSU, and I was during my weight cut, and I'm over here with my gallon jug of water. That each, it changes how much you can drink. So I think my last day, I could only drink like a quarter of the gallon.
So the Thursday before weight, you can have a quarter of a gallon, but on Friday you don't eat or drink until you weigh in.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, and weigh-ins were at night.
And weigh-ins were 6 p.m.
So it's basically like a hot fast right before you weigh in.
It really is, and I'm sure it starts on Sunday, in which you get too much water. They let you have to drink 2 gallons in a full day.
2 gallons.
That's 256 ounces.
Yeah. You're very bloated.
To drink more water makes you sick.
Yeah.
Like it made you feel sick.
It does.
Because it's just too much water.
Yeah.
But
well, off topic. I mean, I understand. Well, sort of, because one day in middle school, you're bored, right? You got nothing to do. You can't drive. We did all those challenges one day. Mm-hmm. Me and my brother Derek, we did like the cinnamon challenge, stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
Well, one of them is the milk challenge. You ever drink a gallon of milk in an hour.
Yeah.
Well, we tried it. We didn't have a gallon. We had a half gallon, a brand new one. So I did half gallon in 30 minutes, right? So a full gallon in an hour, half gallon in 30 minutes. Dude, I tried that. Oh my gosh.
Dude, yeah.
I was going strong. I finished
I can do this.
Yeah, I finished in between a
That's
quarter.
How you feel with the water.
A quarter and a half, in 15 minutes. I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
And you just hit like a wall, and it's I'm about to be sick. I laid on the couch coughing style, arms crossed, and I was like, now obviously that's not water, but yeah. So.
That's definitely how you feel on that Sunday.
On that water, right?
Dude, it is. And something crazy. So after you weigh in, first of all, you want to get all that salt you can. Because you want to retain all the water you can as soon as you can, so you can be big the next day. And so we carb load and we salt load, but in addition to that, you have to take in all the water you lost. So it's time to reload on water. So you got to drink 11 liters.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Which is 11 Fiji bottles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is, I used Fiji, and something we're supposed to combine protein powder with it.
Yeah.
To get salt,
oh
get
my
nutrients.
Gosh.
Well, what was bad?
Protein powder with water?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's awful.
What was bad about it is we had the worst flavor of protein powder.
Oh,
we had
dude,
strawberry.
it
was the strawberry way. You've tasted that. So John's thrown that in the garbage recently.
Yeah.
Actually,
you still have.
I was too cheap to do that. Continuing to drink that with all my
Attaboy.
There you go.
But can you vouch it's not good?
It is not good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially with just water.
Yeah.
And
So-
I love
It's
strawberry.
rough.
Yeah, I love strawberry too. I thought it was a good idea at the time.
So, Bruni, how was your experience with the diet and the cutting and stuff like that? How was your experience with it?
I was all in. I'd follow the same line all through training that kind of Thaddeus did with the lean meats, a bunch of salads,
Right.
a bunch of eggs, and then when it came to that time to drop weight, kind of said I'm all in. It sounds like a terrible idea.
Right.
Wife at the time was going to MTSU for dietetics and nutrition.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, she's going to hate me if I tell her all the details about this. She's not going to like this.
Yeah.
This is a no-go.
Oh, yeah.
Did it anyway.
I understand.
I was all committed to the thing.
Of course.
Like they said, that Sunday, your bloat is all get out. But I don't think Monday or Tuesday. I think I spent more time in the bathroom than I did like at my desk working.
I bet. You're like having to explain to your boss that, hey man, sorry, I've been in the toilet the last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Productivity level low.
Work ethic high, productivity level low.
I explained that to my boss before I started. I said, hey, I'm cutting weight this week.
That's funny.
Yeah, definitely felt weak towards the end of the week, and
Like-
but we were all in, and you just kind of felt that drain. But then you're just trying to puff back up as much as you can.
You're pumped for the
Yeah.
event, right?
Yep.
I love grilled chicken. I really do. But like whenever you're doing that, I bet you're sick of grilled chicken, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
stuff.
And then like you had to find like certain seasonings,
Right.
low on sodium.
Exactly.
Yes.
No sodium.
No sodium,
So the thing during this whole week, from Sunday through Friday at weigh-in, you cannot have salt. Period.
Yeah,
Right.
Salt's a no-go.
because it retains
And
water.
and
yeah.
you have to have less than 50 grams of carbs per day.
Now, what is that on average? Like a
That's-
sandwich or two, or what?
No, you can't have a sandwich. No.
No.
Wow.
Because there's natural carbs in a lot of the stuff you eat.
Right.
So I stopped. One of the meals I stopped for breakfast one morning, because I was really hungry, is I went to Subway because I just wanted a grilled chicken salad.
Yeah.
And I went and looked up how much sodium was in that sucker. I couldn't have it. I literally bought a Subway grilled chicken salad and could only eat the spinach.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
all I could have.
Yeah.
And you know what? I needed
That's
that.
dedication,
I needed
dude.
that spinach, dude.
And you did it.
But yeah, and so what we did is we loaded up on Mrs. Dash.
Mrs.
Guys,
Dash.
if you're looking
Boom.
for a seasoning that doesn't have salt in it, look, you get tired of Mrs. Dash too. I'm just saying it.
But she's a savior.
But
she's the same.
She
Yeah.
makes chicken taste a lot
Oh,
better.
Mrs. Dash.
Yeah,
Mrs.
she-
Dash is money.
Yes.
So honestly, go get the Chipotle Southwest, get the lemon pepper, get
Oh,
all
lemon
of
pepper
it.
all day.
You gotta mix it
Yeah.
up, because when you're eating a lot of chicken, that is what it is. And you know what was actually lower in sodium if you didn't add anything was steak. Actually,
Yeah.
it was actually lower than a sirloin steak was actually lower than the chicken,
Yep.
Right.
which was crazy. Which you could have as much meat and protein as you want. It was just carbs and salt, because your body doesn't need to retain water. The whole goal is that you inflate yourself with water, and your body has to get rid of it. And that's why you decrease your water
Did you do
intake every day.
creatine? Like, because I mean, I come from a little weight training.
Yeah.
Was there any
No,
creatine
no.
involved, or is it
No.
just actual water? Because that's what creatine was water weight.
Right.
So
Yeah, this was just during the weight cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like when we were
This
just
was
working
not a
out.
prolonged event.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this
no.
was a
weight
five,
cutting's like
five,
a
6
week.
days.
Yeah, about a
it's,
week.
It's
yeah.
6 days. Total.
Yeah.
But like when we were training and we weren't cutting weight, we were just eating healthy.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just focusing on greens. Something that was a go-to for breakfast was like green beans, blueberries, and some protein in a smoothie
Yeah.
that I would mix up in my NutriBullet. That was my breakfast.
Yeah.
We were just eating healthy. But when it came to weight cut, that's when we turned up and we did the GSP.
It's super healthy.
Yeah.
Weight. Well, it's not healthy at all.
No.
It's actually very unhealthy.
Yeah,
You
you're
should not-
depleting your body.
You should not
Yeah.
do this to your body.
No.
I do not commend
It's sending
anybody
it.
to
It's
do
sending
this.
it in like a shock. Almost.
Yes. Well, you're being dehydrated.
Wow.
You're turning your body into a
Yeah.
raisin, really.
Right.
Your natural healthy weight is when you're hydrated. So when I
Yeah.
started this and I was eating healthy, the first time I was 175. The second time I was 170 pounds.
Right.
That was my healthy weight.
Yep.
I cut down to 159. I lost 11 pounds on one occasion in 6 days. The first time I lost 16 pounds because I was feeling well. That is crazy weight loss, and the majority of it is water, which means when you weigh in, you feel terrible.
Right.
You're super thirsty, you're super hungry,
Yep.
and all you want to do is step on the scale and get out of there.
Right.
And it's tearing you up.
Yep.
It really is.
That's what I was
Dang.
telling you. It's mental. That
Yeah.
that is
all
a mental game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost 15 pounds. So
Yeah.
170. No, I weighed in at 155. But the gratifying thing is, weigh-ins, I made 155.
And his
Yeah.
opponent didn't.
My opponent did not.
Yeah.
Wow.
So technically, I'm wondering where 30% of his fight purse is.
That's yeah. Where you at, Valor?
Hey, no kidding though. When Thaddeus was asked, "Hey, you still want to fight the undefeated guy that didn't make weight?" Thaddeus said, "Oh, I'll fight him."
Yeah.
Oh, I fight.
Well, it made me mad because I knew the question they were going to ask.
You still want to fight
We're
him?
fighting.
Yeah.
Actually,
I want to fight him more now.
Yeah. I just depleted. No, yeah, we're fighting.
Yeah. I'm not giving this up.
So one of the last things we've talked about a lot of training. So this is super awesome. This is definitely a brotherhood that's been building for years. So throughout this process of not only friendship but competing and stuff, what was or anything that you learned about yourself as an individual throughout this entire process? I mean, from the very start of this to now, as we sit in this room, what that is, Bruni, I mean, what is something that you learned about yourself during this whole process of Homegrown MMA?
Well, I knew I was always like a driven guy, especially like in athletics and stuff, but this is a whole nother level. Like, this is day in, day out grind, and you build this camaraderie with these guys, and you gotta trust the system. And so it proved to me like that if I can set not only short term goals but long term goals, and if I just stick to it, I can do it. And like there's this drive in me that I always said I had,
right?
But it's like proved that hey, I can do it.
Proving it to yourself.
Yeah, and it was honestly the best shape I've ever been in, and probably one of the best times of my whole life. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super awesome.
No doubt.
What about you, Bruni? Tell us, man.
I'll take it to the point of that wall or limit that you think your capabilities and your skill set is never it. There's always that more that you can push yourself to do, as long as you're driven and motivated to get there. Whether it's physically, mentally, through work, whatever. And that's what kind of helped push me, was being with these guys that I kind of tethered myself to, who were better. And even in life, you find those better people to help pull you up. Not that you want to drag them down, but learn from them. And you really see that wall that you break through. Then you think that next wall is all you can do, and then you break through that one, and you just keep getting better and better. And it was just like a real life physical example of just keep pushing yourself, and you'll see those results.
Right.
So
that's awesome. I love it, because that reminds me, and I literally looked it up on the fly as you were talking there. Like, what you said there reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. The only thing that's standing between you and your goal is the BS story you keep telling yourself as to why you can't achieve it.
Yep.
Power move. That's a power quote.
That I feel like embedded your reason of what this meant to you. Like, you can definitely. I know for the listeners that listen to this podcast right now, you're not in this room, but if you could be in this room right now, you feel it in this room. It's pretty awesome. Dougie, send us home with what you learned about in Homegrown MMA.
I want to follow up with a little more of John's stuff. John is very internal sometimes, but he was in a tragic car accident that hurt his hip and back tragically. It was a no joke. You were rear-ended, wasn't you?
Yeah, there was a 18-wheeler that wasn't paying attention, making a left-hand turn, and didn't see that traffic had stopped. So he plowed into the vehicle behind me. I saw him coming, was driving a little S10, threw neutral, slammed on the brake because I'm seeing a car in front of me and my brother in the passenger seat. So I slammed on the brake, and when they hit, I just shoved my hip back. And if I'm not careful or stretching to do what I'm supposed to do, I can limp for a minute before I get that mobility back. So going into this was definitely a push to get past it and see what those physical capabilities were.
Right.
Because think about other dudes trying to hurt another dude.
Yeah.
Bruni's been in that tragic car accident, so he's got that in the back of his mind while he's on the mat, fighting for himself, and defending himself. And something that I feel like what was beneficial to him is, when he first went into it, he went in very reckless. Like we said, like he said, I'm going full steam ahead, baby, which was amazing. But what I feel like he ended up gaining was he knew he wasn't made of glass.
Right.
Like, he's a strong dude. He's got strong legs. He's got a good frame. He's confident in what he does, and when he's when he's more confident, he does even better.
Right.
And so I don't know. I just wanted to add that to Bruni's story because it was just so cool to see him go out there and win.
Yep.
Right.
Like he had been in that car accident.
compete.
He had
Yeah.
never played sports before, and he won.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
beat somebody that was eager and younger than he was.
Right.
You know, and that was just awesome to me.
Tiger
And you know,
blood.
I don't want any credit because John did that himself. Thaddeus did his thing himself. I was just
It was
along for
definitely
the
these
ride.
two guys for the training for
Well,
awesome.
we brought it to Bruni because we knew that when Bruni got on the mat, nobody was going to hold back. Nobody was going to hold
Right.
back on
It's true.
Bruni just because he's Bruni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
True.
know, and Bruni wasn't going to hold back on them
That's
either.
it.
Right. Unleashed.
He was going to let them have it. Let them have all of them tree trunks. But, you know, I just wanted to point to that because that was super cool to see you. Because Bruni said that one day. He said, dude, I'm not made of glass. I'm like really strong. And I was like, dude, I freaking know you're strong.
We know.
Man. Like, I don't need you to tell me.
I put myself in those situations where when we spar, we take turns. Because, of
Right.
course, 3 guys training, and one of you is
Yeah.
going to get gassed and tap out. And
Yeah.
that's it. I'll be the crash dummy. Take it on.
That's awesome.
And well, they're like, you sure you got another round in you?
Gas tank for days.
Bruni always
Let's
had
go.
a gas tank.
Always.
That's awesome.
Bruni had an amazing
Yeah.
gas tank. Yeah, but
Couldn't do much with it, but it was there.
you did
Hey,
a
I
lot.
love
I did
it.
a lot.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
so when I started, you know, because of experience, Bruni was a challenge because of his strength and his eagerness.
Right.
But towards the end, Bruni was a challenge because he learned stuff,
Mhm.
and you know he was getting crafty and he was getting, you know, clever, and he was picking up stuff. But anyways, I guess I'm supposed to talk about what I learned. So what I learned is that mainly it's amazing to be a coach and to be some things, but something you have to learn about is that you have to be a better student to be a better coach. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of what I learned from the process.
I like that a lot.
I put a lot of time into researching things and coming up with things and bringing the moves to the gym and all that stuff. Well, to the dungeon. And what I can bring now is, you know, I need to always challenge myself and bring quality moves into the gym, which we had some quality stuff, but you know, training regimen needed to be amped up, and you know, there's a lot of things we could have done to be better, and that's what I'm going to excel at. And by doing that, I'm going to be a student first, and I'm going to learn on my own and take my lumps so that I can pass those lumps on to anybody that would train with me, and be a good training partner. And by being a good training partner, I can be a better coach, and we can win more than we lose.
I love it.
So that's what I want to do. Also,
You can tell you were built to be that. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You were built to be the supporter, the
Yeah.
coach and stuff. You were just built.
And I'll
for
say
that.
this: he's the most driven guy I've ever met. And I've played a lot of sports with a lot of people.
Right.
He's the most driven guy, but also the most humble guy that you
Yeah.
ever meet. And he's
Yes.
always got your back. He's always there.
Yeah.
And for
Oh,
me, that was
sure.
the biggest thing, because not only is this guy punching me in the face,
Right.
literally.
Not only is he destroying your face,
Right,
yeah.
not only is he putting me through workouts where, you know, I'd be driving home, you know, cramping up, you
Right.
know, and but he had your back. He
Yeah.
text you that morning, ready, you know, but also how you feeling? You good?
Yeah.
You know, or he call you after training, you all right? You know, you good?
Yeah.
How you feeling for tomorrow? You all right? You know, and then, but then you just kick it, you know, so
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll
definitely.
echo that.
Probably the best coach, one of the best coaches I've ever had, without a
Yeah.
doubt.
And especially coming in with no experience, you know, not just both these guys, but you know, especially Doug with training us, to have him on the side of the mat, you know, even though I didn't have the experience, I knew I had somebody who was gonna see those 2-3 steps ahead and call out what may happen, and that just gives you the good feeling going against somebody else that you know might outrank you, might have more experience, because you got somebody who's feeding you what you should do as long as you're listening and internalizing that. So having, you know, his support and his dedication, that only, you know, made you want to do it even more. So
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Dougie Fresh. Dougie Fresh getting you were built for it, dude. That's
Built
why.
for it.
That's why you're the
Yeah.
co-host of the Power Move podcast, the original creator. He's put a lot of time and money into this podcast, and it shows, man. So big shout out to you, Dougie Fresh.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, it was awesome. So
awesome.
that about wraps it up, guys. I mean, we're gonna leave it on that. That was a perfect note, I think. So that is. Bruni, do you have any last remarks, my friends?
And just thank you guys for having us, man. This is awesome. You guys are doing great things. I love hearing you guys in my squad car.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys, man.
We're glad we can shine a light. Bruni, anything from you, brother?
No, but I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to see where you guys take this, and the people listening out there keep on listening. I picked up nuggets. There's nuggets out there, and just appreciate you guys taking your time to do it. And, putting your effort in. So thank you.
That's awesome.
That's it. Dougie Fresh.
Thank you, listeners. If
Close
there's
it out,
anything you
brother.
can pull out from this, pull it out. Thanks for listening. I'm a little torn up right now. That's fine, though. I've got great people in the room. We've got great people in the room. And, hopefully you got something from this podcast. And Homegrown MMA is not dead.
Not dead.
If anything, it's alive and well.
Not dead.
Alive and well.
All right.
So,
You
thanks,
heard it.
guys. You heard it here first. Thanks for listening. This was Dougie. We got Chaze.
In the building.
Y'all have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Deuces.
Deuces!